Hello there guys, it's Docs here again and welcome back to Planetside 2. It's been quite a while since I've done a video either in tutorial or in gameplay form for flying in Planetside 2. I'm in a Mosquito mainly, which is what I used to do and really what I started out doing. But the past few months, or really since release, it's been quite boring because air-to-air missiles have been so powerful and they're really dull to use because they just fire and forget. Either that or the guy uses a flare and you get to fire some of your cannon for a bit. They've nerfed them a little bit now so that they aren't really as useful at all, so now that the lock-on times are so long. So I thought tonight instead of using rocket pods as a secondary weapon, I'd use the Afterburner boosters, which is what you get by default, and a lot of people just switch them out and just say, well, I'd rather have a secondary weapon than a bit of extra afterburner, and it seems like the obvious choice, but actually I've had a huge amount of fun using them. Mainly around the Taurish area, as there was a lot of fighting going on tonight over that area, especially in the air, and afterburners are really useful for just getting out of bad situations or dodging other aircraft and things. So you won't see a huge amount of kills here. I haven't got any massive kill streaks. It's not really like impressive in that sense, but I've had a lot of fun just dodging things and really sort of pissing a lot of Vanu off, which is a lot of fun, I have to say. There's some situations where I've gotten out of with these afterburners that I otherwise probably wouldn't have, and it's just so much fun. It's like, this is why I started out in Planetside 2. For like the first month, I think I practically solely played in a Mosquito, because at the time there wasn't any other secondary weapons, you just had your main cannon. It was so much fun. This does kind of show off the fact that I've become pretty rusty with my main cannon. I've been a bit too reliant on air-to-air missiles when they were overpowered, mainly because while I was in outfit groups and things like that, which I've mainly been playing in over the past few months, I felt like I've had to take them because I wanted to actually be really helpful for my outfit while I've been playing with them. So I didn't want to really gimp myself by not carrying air-to-air missiles. So it definitely has made me a bit rusty. Even certain bits of advice that I gave out in my videos, like my dogfighting tips video and things like that, I haven't really been abiding by myself. I've sort of forgotten to actually think about that, like closing in on a target before I actually fire at them. You'll see in a second that I do, which spooks off the target before you're actually in close enough range to do much damage to them. So when they're like here, when they're actually firing on the ground, I start firing pretty early when I could have probably gotten away with getting closer and doing a lot more damage to him initially so that I didn't have to deal with him afterwards while he's weaving about trying to dodge my attacks. So yeah, it is a bit of an issue that I have to take notes of. Actually, in this clip in particular, it does get pretty crazy though, because there was a huge amount of Vanu around here, especially in the skies, and I was lucky enough that I didn't get many of them on my tail initially, but it does heat up, and actually I'm kind of lucky here because one of his friends crashed into him here, I think, looking back at this clip, which is very useful for me. Thank you whoever crashed into his friend. But this is where it starts to heat up a little bit. I do get their attention after I get this guy who is just hovering in place, which is always very handy because you can get a whole clip out and it's great. But I think I did piss off a lot of Vanu at this point because I get a couple of them on my tail. And at this point it becomes just a case of dodging them as much as possible, which is exactly what the extended afterburn helps with, because you can very easily, using the afterburner, go from a standstill to very fast in the Mosquito especially. I think on the other ASFs it does work slightly differently. The actual acceleration the afterburner gives is different. I think the Mosquito has the best acceleration from the afterburner as far as I know, so that is a real advantage that I can use with this. So I do quite a lot, especially when I'm turning and I sort of lose a bit of speed when I turn sharply. But I can use the afterburner to quickly punch myself forwards, and trying to avoid being just a bit of sitting duck, which you usually are when you're trying to get back up to speed and slowly accelerating again. And of course, using the extended afterburner lets you do this for longer, which is always a good thing, especially in situations like this where I essentially stirred up the hive. I really pissed them off, and I ran out of ammo, which is never a good thing when there's 5 Scythes behind you trying to kill you. So at this point I try and weave around like this. It's not really a good thing to do because you're still a very easy target. It's very easy to stay on someone's back like that. But I had to get out there with no ammo. So I tried to get behind them just to sort of disorient them a little bit. But at this point it kind of ended up like a movie where I was rescued by 2 mosquitoes just flying under the bridge there. It was like a really heroic move and I just ran away. It was really lucky. Well, there was only 1 Scythe left on my tail and he sort of got a bit bored after a while, so yeah, I made it out alive, amazingly, after all of that. Did I learn from that? No, because a little while later I do eventually decide to go back and have some more fun, because there's still a lot of Scythes around there. I absolutely love this area, mainly further in where the canyons are and things, because it's so much fun to fly around with. I'm looking forward to, actually, even though it's the worst position to have your warp gate, I'm looking forward to when the TR warp gate switches over there, probably next week when the new patch comes out, because that's where I first started playing the game in, when the TR warp gate was there, and I was only playing in a Mosquito, and I just loved this area for it. So at this point I'm really not even trying to get kills here. Well, I am in a way, but I'm just really just having a lot of fun dodging things. It's great. The towers are pissed off at me, and I'm just trying to get people to follow me around. A few tips that I kind of missed out on giving out during my dogfighting tips video, and I was really pissed off at not talking about them, because they're some of the main things that really helps me out when I'm actually flying an aircraft and dogfighting specifically, is to really use sound, because sound is very important, because it really gives you the direction of an aircraft, where they're coming from and where they are in relation to you, and if they're heading towards you, because you can hear them getting louder and louder. So it's very important to listen out for those things. By the way, at this point I genuinely thought I died, but I just kind of play it off as the fact that I was trying to slow myself down and let them pass over me. That's the whole idea of what I did there. I don't know how I survived that. I really don't. But anyway, on top of all that, using sound for deciphering which directions aircraft are coming from, or where they are in terms of your aircraft, you should also use your minimap, which is a pretty obvious one, but it's one that I think a lot of people initially don't do, because it's kind of hard to take notice of your minimap at the same time as piloting an aircraft and pulling crazy maneuvers. But it's something you get used to, and it's very important, because you can tell when an aircraft is facing you just by looking at your minimap, and if they're on there you can see where they're facing, which direction they're going and things like that, and you know when you're pulling these silly maneuvers and turning like crazy, then you know which direction you need to go in, and use that minimap to actually orientate yourself a little bit. And of course I'm killed by another aircraft flying into me. Typical. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, because I had a lot of fun making this video and just doing some fun flying again. I think I'll definitely be doing more of this, so I look forward to that, and I will see you guys again very soon.